Welcome back to CashColorCannabis podcast, a high level of conversation on live hiphopdaily.tv. I have my special guest in the building, attorney Shequel Ross. How you doing, man?
Hi, good.
Well, let me first start off by saying I was, and I actually am a fan of a lawyer. Like, I'm literally going through your page, and like I said, your videos actually jumped out at me to the point where it reminded me of a whole job I used to work. And again, when I was working for Martina, her main job was to make sure that lawyers had proper content and was actually making the content that was able to actually engage with their consumers or engage with their possible clients, and also be informative, make you come off like an actual like you are somebody who actually knows what they're talking about. And you did all those things, man. I was going through your videos like, yo, and this is funny. Like, she does a great job of that. Well, before we get started with anything else, man, talk to us about what led you towards law. Like, what got you into the law practice?
Well, I guess I would have to say it goes back to, when I was born. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. Mom and dad are still together. They've been together for about 37 years. Married. I'm the oldest of two, and it's just something that was always in me. It's not something that I had to think about or say, what was I created or put on this planet to do? I just always knew how I would speak, how I would talk, and then I had people around me who would speak prophecies over me. You're going to be an attorney when you grow up. You're going to be a good attorney. You know how to speak. You know how to defend. You know how to talk. And they just put that in me, and it was like a harvest, a root that just kept growing. So I would say that it was in me, plus the people around me, it really helped to cultivate that.
That's amazing. I was on your website. I know your parents were actually kind of involved on the scene legally in Arizona. That also helped you get involved in law as well. What did they do?
My dad, he was a professor at Arizona State, instructor, and then my mom, she actually went to Emory. She went to Atlanta University. Yeah, so
did my research.
I'm not going to throw up any pink and yellow because, that's against the rules when you're not that. But she's an AKA, and she went here to Atlanta University, always talked to me about Atlanta. So my mom, she went to Emory. She got her degree in law librarianship. So she worked for like Honeywell and IBM, things like that, like the back end of the legal work for libraries. And then she recently, before she retired, she was at an elementary school. Yeah, so she was a teacher. My dad was a teacher. So that's how I kind of use my videos. I'm from an educated teaching family. So
and
for me, it's natural for me to teach. When I get to, it's natural for me to teach when I'm talking about the law. For me, it's like, okay, anybody can go to law school and get a degree.
Yeah.
4,000 people take the bar exam a year, but how many of those are really going to teach you about the law?
You're correct.
So that's different.
You're correct. That's a whole nother subject. But do you feel like we actually have more lawyers than we need at this point? Like we're starting to see people go to law school and people coming out left and right. Like, do we actually need as many lawyers as we're seeing nowadays?
Well, it depends on their purpose.
Okay.
Because you can have 800 ants in an ant bed, but everybody is doing their own individual job. That's building that colony, that's building the people, that's going and getting something, that's going over here to do something else and bringing it back to really help the infrastructure.
Yeah.
So I would say yes, but just if you're going to go to law school and you're going to be whack and you're going to be just some normal attorney, not shout out to the regular attorneys out there. Let me make sure I don't need you DMing me talking about I'm a regular attorney. But what I'm saying is, you gotta exceed mediocre. You gotta do something different. And so I would say if your need is to go to law school and to be an attorney and to be the best, like Puff Daddy says, greatness. If not, then you should probably do something else, but that's not for me to say. That's between them and God,
So, and what exactly do you specialize in? Because again, I did my was on your website. Definitely went through your profile, but I know actually literally somebody asked me when I walked in here, what else does she work on? So I was like, I'll give her a chance to speak about that. What are your other practices?
So my main thing, I don't know how this became about, is criminal defense, and I'm a litigator, so I will take a case to trial. A lot of attorneys, there are 4 types of attorneys, a negotiator, a mediator, an arbitrator, and a litigator. Like, I'm not scared to pick a jury, and I will try your case. So for me, litigation is very important. And when it comes to criminal defense, it's tied to your civil rights, your Fourth Amendment, your Fifth Amendment, your Sixth Amendment, 13th Amendment, all the different amendments. So that's why criminal defense is tied to civil rights for me. Okay. And I come from Arizona. We were the last state to get the Martin Luther King holiday.
Yeah, like seriously.
So civil rights is connected to criminal defense. And then I do business law. So I have like a lot of entertainers, mainstream rappers in regards to the contracts. Anybody you name out here, I most likely probably have them in regards to contracts. So criminal defense, civil rights, and business law.
Okay. And with criminal, I guess that's how we got to where I see you on your page discussing probation and discussing fees and a lot of things that you can accumulate before you even have to get a lawyer. So speak to us about that. Like, how did that actually become like a target or something that became, I guess, a passion of yours?
Nothing. Like, I really honestly can't explain to you how I pick my topics.
Okay.
I could wake up, like last night I couldn't sleep. I'm like, okay, what's my new topic? I didn't go to sleep because I'm always listening to God. If I turn on a TV station, I see something about Meek Mill going to jail because he violated probation, I'm not going to talk about how everybody else, oh, that's wrong, he shouldn't have gone to jail. What's the law?
Yeah.
Let's break down this bond. Let's break down why he was denied a bond. What's the bond come from? Where is the bond factors? Why was he denied? I'm going to break it down like that and then bring it back to the people. So to me, this could fall right here and somebody get hurt standing here. And I could say, okay, what's the law? Like, it's hard to turn that off. And then I'm going to bring it back to people, talking to people about what that is. So in regards to probation, it was something that was kind of connected to what happened to Meek Mill.
Yeah, okay.
And I used it as a platform to talk to people about probation, violating probation, how you can get a bond. If you violate, people don't even know that. Like, my DM was blowing up, almost 100 messages a day, because people don't even know you can get a bond after you violate probation, get locked up. Why do you not have an attorney who's filing a bond to get you out? That I don't understand.
Well, that's another reason why we have you on the show. Like, we run through so many people, especially since the marijuana ordinance, since Kwanzaa, brought up the marijuana ordinance. We're having a lot of people being very confused, one, about what they can even do out here when it comes to cannabis, but two, how to get themselves out of the situation. Because, Vincent Ford, another guest who came on the show, spoke very highly about the importance to get rid of some of these, the what he called the predatory probation system. Yeah. And how the probation system currently right now is taking full advantage of people in the city. So that's another reason, that's why we have you on the show today. So, to kind of speak about that. Let's speak about the marijuana ordinance briefly. When you first heard about it, what was your feelings about it? Like, did you think it was something that would be beneficial to the city and to people in the city?
I thought it would be beneficial if people know about it.
Okay.
And the only way people know about it, like right now, if we take a number, even with my messages and things that I get, because I have somebody that monitors all of that, my team that I have, because there's no way I can respond to all of that. But even when they do show me, 80% to 90% don't even understand. They're like, oh, now I can smoke weed. Okay, but you're calling me, you need me to still represent you because you were outside the boundary lines, because it was only passed in the city of Atlanta.
Yeah.
So you're in Decatur, you're smoking, you're gonna get, you're going to jail. And it was only passed at the city level, which means municipal court, like a ticket, speeding, and not at the state level. So that officer could still charge you if they want to be, meet their quota, still charge you under state law, and you can go to jail. So I would say the proper education on things is what makes it beneficial. If not, you're still going to jail. You're going to have officers who are still going to arrest under state law. And I think that's the issue.
I think they've done a kind of I'll say a fairly bad job rolling out the plan. Like, they really haven't fully explained it. And I could say this from my own perspective. It really came off almost like a political thing as we're looking at it now. Like, it was really a rush as far as, we had a mayor race and everything going on, that they didn't fully explain what was happening. And then we have people in the streets who we are concerned about who are getting arrested left and right, and nobody's really explaining the law. So I think you have a good point. It's about education. How are you going to roll out something and then not explain it?
Yeah, and then how are you going to, and then let's say, for an example, okay, so A has a previous marijuana charge, but this law, let's say he had it from last May 2017. But this law was now passed in October-ish,
Yep.
2017. It doesn't go back. And he leave, you know what I mean? You still have those charges that are pending, state law, wherever you got those charges. But now, let's say A and B, or excuse me, two different people, C and D, are driving down the street. C, D, I like to use letters, A, B, C, D, E, F, no. So C and D are in the car with, E and F.
Yeah.
Okay. The officer, the first thing they do, people don't understand, is the officer, when he pulls you over, is going to say he smells marijuana. That's number one. First of all, there's law that says you don't even have to roll your window all the way down. I have videos. I get pulled over just like everybody else.
I was going to talk about that. I saw one of your videos.
You're not going to say you smell marijuana. You're just not. I don't even. What are you talking about? You smell marijuana. Okay. So that's another thing. You have passengers in cars who don't even know their rights. Give me your ID. I'm not driving. I haven't committed an infraction. So you have different situations going on with that marijuana law, depending on where it happens at, in a car or on boundary lines, city lines. It's so intricate, like you said, and just needs to be broken down.
Yeah, and I mean, you brought up a good point again on your Instagram. How is me having an ounce of weed versus me having it broken down into packages is two different things. You know what I mean? It's two different things. Like, I know I have a friend of mine who I used to get treat from, and he used to do that all the time. He'd break it down into bags. I used to hate that because if I get stopped, now it's not personal in any way, shape, or form. They're looking at me like I'm selling.
Correct.
And that's another thing that needs to be broken down, that just because it still weighs up to an ounce doesn't mean you can now, that's you asking for a bigger problem. You know what I'm saying? Walking around like that. So I'm definitely with you. There needs to be a lot more education about this ordinance, and we need to push for that ourselves as people. You know what I'm saying? Just as citizens of this city. You passed this, you walked up here and asked us to help you pass it, and now we don't know what the hell's going on. You know what I mean? And literally you're talking about people's lives are in jeopardy at this point. So
correct. And then you have a whole different situation where, let's say, for an example, you get caught with that ounce of marijuana, and then the officer says, you know what, I'm going to charge you under state law because it's still against the law in the state of Georgia. And then you have a whole nother situation where somebody else, they get charged, they get stopped, and then they get a ticket, and they only have to pay $75 and appear in municipal court. So I'll get two calls from two different people, and people are confused when really it's the same ounce. You get what I'm saying? And it's like, wait a second, that needs to be explained to the point. And so I'm like, how better else to do this? I'm getting ready to take over social media with it.
Oh, you
to
did.
To the point to where I teach.
You shut it down. You shut it down. You shut it down. Matter of fact, you shut it down. At one point, I had people even asking me, she's great at what she does, but I don't know if she knows exactly what an ounce of weed is. I'm like, I'm not debating what an ounce of weed is on Instagram. I'm not debating what an ounce of weed is on Instagram. Stick to the story.
I'm from Arizona. We got that Reggie.
Stick
I know
to the
what
story.
an ounce of weed. I know exactly what an ounce is. I'm a criminal defense attorney.
So, so on Instagram, how is the reception been as far as some of your videos? Like,
joking.
have you been? You did mention that you have been getting a lot of DMs, but how's the reception been for your videos about the probation, about the marijuana ordinances, and people just needing questions answered?
I would say even just in the last year, because I hated social media. I'm not a social person. You got ready to call me, you saw I vanished.
Yeah.
Like, it's just something that I don't like. This is awkward even to me. Just people just looking at me in this room. Thank you guys.
Really, trial attorney is awkward?
This is awkward sitting here being contained, because normally I'm up talking.
Yeah.
I'm up having, like, when I talk, it's just a gift. Like, people really listen and they follow.
Do you want to stand up?
No, because then I'll be up there on the roof. By the time I get finished, I'm going to be. But my brother's a speech pathologist, so he always would say, you have a lot of inflations in your voice, and the person listening, they follow. So basically, I would say just with social media, I've only had it for the last year. And one of the things I told myself, I didn't want to buy followers. And can say, like, in the last year, just with the content that I put out, it's crazy. Just standing here, I got 8 messages. It's God, I would have to say.
Hey, let me tell you, my man Rob already told me. He said if he ever gets arrested, he already told his wife, call her.
You know the number by heart, though, right? Because it's real easy. So my name is Shequel, and it's SHE. That's easy, Shequel. So it's 8555 Sheila. That's easy. Yeah, you can't forget that. 8555 Sheila. And so that's another thing too. I was like, God, how am I going to brand myself? It's so many attorneys, like you said. It's probably 1.8 trillion. I'm being funny, but
No, it's a lot though.
well,
Like serious is a lot.
how do you guys how do we all merge together? I'm not doing that. No. So God woke me up in the middle of the night, and He said the blessing is in the name. Use your name. So I took the SHE out of Shequel and did She Law Firm and trademarked that, and then did Is Shequel Your Attorney. So just doing that, to get back to your question, with social media, just not saying, okay, and an attorney, criminal defense, we'll fight for you. Nah, everybody says that.
Yeah.
So it's the branding, it's the teachings, it's the lessons, it's the accessibility to me. I would say has really impacted the social media.
Okay, and what advice would you give to, I guess, an attorney who's now getting used to having to take on this new digital world and have to put their face out on Instagram and be more active on LinkedIn? What advice would you give them, being that you are somebody who doesn't like being all these people looking at you?
I would say you have to be you. You have to really tap into really who you are. You have to listen to all those voices that told you when you were growing up, you're going to be good at this, you're going to be good at that. And whatever profession that you choose, if you hear something in the middle of the night, if you hear something when you turn the TV on, if you hear something and you know that you're not doing what you should be doing, or you don't feel that you're fulfilling your purpose, then you need to stop, because that means you're operating outside of your purpose. Once you get in your purpose, like, I can truly say that if I were to be born again, I'm born again, I'm saved, but if I were to be born again, if I were to pass away and God created another Shequel, I would do the same exact thing. That's how I know I'm in my purpose. So I would say to anybody, not just an attorney, a professor, someone in medical school, a cosmetologist, be the best at what you can be and don't settle. You're going to get made fun of. You are, but you are going to take over with your craft if you operate in your craft and in your traits.
All right, let's swing back to the marijuana ordinance real quick again.
You like that marijuana?
I do.
Huh?
We got to talk about
that Reggie Bush over there talking about.
That is what we're here
ganja.
for. Cash Color Canvas podcast, man. With the $75
banging on me.
With the $75 fine that's been implanted through the ordinance, what programs do you feel like could be implemented for defendants who simply can't afford to pay the fine? Because that's something else you run into a whole lot. There's people who are locked up right now simply because they can't afford the fine, and $75 is something to them. You know what I mean? Like, how do you feel about that? And like, do you think any programs can be kind of created for defendants like that?
I think so. You can't assume that everybody has, $75.
Yeah.
Like, you can't assume that someone can pay $1,500 to $5,000 for an attorney. So basically, I would say that if you're caught with marijuana and you're just, let's say, if you have no money and they say that there's a $75 ticket, what I would say is that when you go to court, ask if people don't tell you this, ask if there is a diversion program. Ask if you can take a class. It's not always this over here. If you look at a statute, it'll say what the penalty is, but then it'll say or. So when I go to court, I have the handbook with me all the time. So it's like, okay, judge, well, if he can't pay the $75 fine, would you allow him to do this? Would you allow him to do this? Or, oh, wait, there's one more, or do this.
Yeah. There's
options within the statute. So I would say programs, diversions, I would say anything that doesn't, because they'll put you on probation for that fine. Mm-hmm. Then you'll violate probation now, and then you have to pay a supervision fee. So it's all a game. It's all a setup. Mm-hmm. So ask for that or under the statute so you can be done.
Yeah.
Did I answer the question?
You totally answered the question.
Okay.
And as you see more people came in, these are probably your future clients. So,
okay. So 8555 Sheila.
There's totally reasons why I'm asking these questions. These are your future people right here. So with the cannabis industry is clearly growing. You know what I'm saying? We're seeing it jump from, Florida now has medical. Georgia will eventually be a state that has to decide something. As we see the cannabis industry grow, have you thought about possibly moving into that side of the world as far as with your legal practice?
Like, what do you mean?
Like as a cannabis, maybe representing brands, helping out with contract situations on for some cannabis brands, or maybe even representing them. Possibly.
I actually have gotten I'd probably say a couple of people, even this week, calls about how I can create contracts, because I do business law as well as criminal defense. How I can create contracts for them in regards to maybe brownies or edibles or things like that. But remind you, it's still against the law in the state of Georgia. Yeah, even if you have an ounce in that chocolate, you go to Decatur, now you're getting charged with with selling. You get what I'm saying? So there's no contract that I could really create, because that would mean I'm kind of coercing a felony.
Yeah, not necessarily
and I could
Georgia.
lose my license. So, I'm from Arizona, Colorado, West Coast is totally different. I have like 3 artists right now that were pulled over. Very big artist, you guys would know. He was in a tour bus. He passed the marijuana on the city line, passed the marijuana. It was a blunt, and it was under an ounce. And what happened was he was charged with distribution. That's how they get around. It's like, okay, we're not going to charge you with the ounce, and even though it's legal, we're going to charge you with distribution or possession or something else. So it's just really difficult right now.
Your faith seems to be very important to you as a person. Like, how important is it to you as a person, and even as a lawyer, when it walks into, when it comes to you walking into court and making sure that you again get in tune with with God, you know what I'm saying, before you make your decisions?
Yeah, I'm always listening. I'm always paying attention. Like right now, I know everything that's going on, every observation. I'm always paying attention. What juror is not paying attention? What juror is listening? Who's sitting in the back left? Who keeps walking out? It's really your awareness. And I could say that's just something that was instilled in me since I was little, being, I'm not from the hood. I'm not. But how is it that I can go to the hood and feel comfortable and represent everybody in the hood as though I understand? It's really awkward. So it's like I was raised in private schools, parents, I come from a certain class, but then they couldn't keep me out the hood. You know what I mean? So it's like
she was a princess in the hood.
I was like, okay, what am I doing? Then uncles popping up on a school bus telling me to get back on the bus. I'm like, I don't even take the bus. What are you talking about? So literally, I forgot the question that you asked, but because I'm a good talker,
speaking about,
I know how to just keep going.
There you go. I was speaking about the importance of the point. Well, definitely your faith is important to you.
Yeah.
Speaking about the importance.
Yeah, there we go.
Faith,
so to me, I don't judge. I defend rapists, allegedly murders, armed robbers. I have a couple of things you probably have seen on the TV. I go in depth. And so we're not going to talk about my stats, but I could say that I do good. I'm very good at what I do, number one. Number two, I don't ask somebody if they're guilty. The reason why is because I'm guilty too. God, that's just, I'm not going to get into, did you really do it? I'm not going to have that conversation. What I'm going to talk about is, how did they get to the evidence?
There you go, man.
So the guilt is right here. So now I got to stand up.
I tell you, hey, look, if you need to stand up, go ahead and do it.
Yeah, now you got me. Okay.
Make sure you have the mic by you, though. Make sure.
Because I'm getting ready to do a whole little illustration. Because that camera's live,
Yeah,
right?
Pastor Ross is in the building right now.
Okay,
We about to make this happen.
So here's the client right here. Here's me, and here's you good? You got, okay. So here's the client. No, sorry, if it's backwards, the camera. So the client's back here. Here's the Constitution. Here's me. The guilt, of course, the client is back here guilty, right? But I don't know if they're guilty. I need to look at the Constitution. I need to see when you pulled them over for that traffic stop, how did you get in the car? This was a red light. How are you now searching the trunk? Okay, that means something is going on with their civil rights or that Constitution. So I always say, for me, I'm a barrier in between guilt and the Constitution. You want my client, you got to tell me how and what led up to that. Because for me, God is not asking me every day, am I guilty at what I did? It literally is, that's been taken care of. Now talk to me about the real situation. Mm-hmm. And so for me, the most, I'm sorry about that. The most amazing thing for me, he had to fix that back. He's like, okay. The most amazing thing to me is when I go to those jails and when I'm done, how that alleged murderer or that alleged rapist will tell me, hey, we started off praying in the beginning. We didn't pray, Attorney Shequel Ross. That touches me because I already know I'm gonna beat your case. Come on. But I'm gonna put you back on the streets with no help, with no resources, no connection. It's not fair because their environment might not be like how mine was, but I have to give them something, and it's hope. Yeah. Putting them back on on the streets with something that they could really feel good about. You know what I mean? So that's just deep for me.
You know, your energy is amazing. Like you're now my attorney. Like you could definitely be my attorney. I mean, I don't get arrested as much as I used to. You know, there would have been a time that you would have been definitely on speed dial. But in the future, yeah, you definitely be an attorney of mine. What do you do in your free time? Like if I turned you on your phone right this second and wanted to go through your playlist, like what am I hearing?
Oh, I'm from the West Coast. Can I get up and crip walk?
Did you dead serious throw the dubs?
I am from the West Coast. Like, this is not I will crip walk in some salmon.
See, I was about to say your publicist was about to tell you no.
Oh, no crip walk?
Don't crip walk in here.
I mean, hashtag.
Tell you about to get you some new clients.
No, but I crip walk, and I'm just joking. In my spare time, I travel. Like I will take, that slogan. I do not catch no feelings. I catch a plane real quick. I have stamps in my passport. I don't have time. Like I just don't have time for games. I work really hard, 15, sometimes 18 hours. I've been up since 6.
Really?
I wasn't going to tell you no. Like, this needs to be talked about. So my days, my social media campaign, my team, my girls who are following me around, my assistants, my law firm on Peach, all that, it takes literally a boss. And the E in CEO, people are, I'm a boss. Oh, no, the E in CEO stands for execution. How do you execute? So for me, everything I do, whether it's a hobby, whether it's just getting something done, I really know how to fulfill a plan, A through Z. So tomorrow I might be on Google like, okay, I think I'm going to go to New Zealand tomorrow. If I don't have a case, of course, I'm not going to do that. You can get held in contempt if you're not in court. But I really, really, really just like getting away, because that recharges me to be able to come back and really help and go in for my clients.
Gotcha. So the playlist though, so we're going to hear a bunch of gangster music in your
I'm sorry, you didn't even object me.
No.
Know how to get off the subject.
I'm sorry.
Kendrick Lamar, Nipsey Hussle.
Are you a Nipsey fan?
I'm from the West Coast, old school West Coast too. We could do some, we could throw in some Dr. Dre.
You got Sugar Free in there?
Of course, Sugar Free.
I bet your parents were so mad at you growing
My
up.
mom kept trying to exchange it with Brandy. Remember the old school, the female rap, the R&B singer Brandy? I'm like, what is this?
Was she trying to get you to do other gang sign hands like that?
No, she was like embarrassed. I'm the oldest child, and what is? But yeah, I would say West Coast. I would say, of course, though too, a lot of rappers out here. Because they drop off stuff when I'm representing them. I'm like, it's not time. I don't want to talk about your new EP.
What? And tell them I don't got a CD player. Like, what am I going to play the CD?
Yeah, but I mean, West Coast, and I would say, but the South right now is just taking over with the music that the mainstream West Coast rappers are kind of like, I wouldn't say dissolving, but it's more, I would say, that beat type music. So you're going to...
If we talking West Coast rap, then I'm saying the Bay keeps the West Coast alive, and nobody wants to give credit to the Bay.
Yeah,
there's so much in Atlanta that I remember when E40 used to come through Atlanta heavy. Like E40 left so much swag in Atlanta that Atlanta still carries as if Atlanta created it. I'd be like, I wouldn't want full cards sometimes. But it's all good. I like that. So you're a Nipsey Hussle fan.
Yeah, Kendrick, K-Dot, Kendrick
Lamar,
Lamar, Game, of course. Oh my goodness, I just came from and this is a real story. I got pulled over. I'd probably get pulled over more
Which
than
one?
you
The one
guys.
downtown or
no, in Beverly Hills.
Oh, really?
And I'm confused. The car fit the area. I didn't understand. But I got pulled over. He said my tail light was out. I don't know how to turn the tail light on and what I was even in. So I got pulled over. He's talking about step out the car. Okay. I told the girl I went film because that's what it's all about. So he said, where am I going? I said, I'm headed to Crenshaw to Crip Walk. What are you talking about? And he actually started laughing. He let me go. It's on my page too. But yeah, Game, all of them. I just grew up. I was born in 81. So that would make me 36. So I grew up literally in the 80s. And so all that 80s music to the 90s, I would say,
So that's what's up. So you was in Phoenix. So literally, you talking about, so the 80s LA era came to your city around the time you was born. See how I broke that down? I figured this out real quickly about who Shequel Ross is.
That's funny.
You're 80s baby.
Who is she?
Who is she?
That is funny. 855 Sheila.
855 Sheila. That's hilarious. I've actually had a great time. Like I said, I became a fan just watching you on Instagram. So I definitely wanted to pick your brain about some stuff that I knew concerned us here in this room, which was that marijuana ordinance. So hopefully we didn't ask you too many questions about marijuana.
No, and also too, I want to make sure you guys understand that it's not just when people talk about the marijuana ordinance, it's not it's the ounce and it's where you live. So if you live outside the border of Atlanta and you get caught, you still can be arrested. On top of that, I don't know if you guys know, May 2017, Governor Nathan Deal, I did a video on this, extended the Cannabis Oil Act. It's the Haley's Hope Act, in which people don't know, like, there was like 6 things in which you can apply for your medical marijuana card. Now there's more. So people with autism, chronic illnesses, things like that, you can go to the Department of Public Health. It's easy. Get a qualified doctor to, sign for you, a real doctor that really treats you, not just somebody on the low over there in East Atlanta, like go ahead and slide in their money. No,
this ain't LA. You can't do that. Like, there's actually doctors down here.
So, and then it's like 4 requirements. You fill out the application. It's really cheap. I think it's like under $50. Get a qualified doctor to attest to your illnesses, and literally fill out the paperwork. And that allows you to carry up to 20 ounces of THC on you at any given time. It has to be in a label too.
Yes, of
it
course.
can't be syrup. You know what I mean? Like young, and then you talk about it's THC.
Just riding around with stuff, man.
So yeah, I want to make sure people understand that too. That was also extended. The leafy marijuana, the ounce, was passed under the ordinance, the city of Atlanta in October, but in May 2017, the new THC Cannabis Oil Act was extended.
Oh, you know what? Well, you're amazing. Like, I'm trying to think of more questions to ask you. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think of more questions to ask you. I feel like we touched on so many different things. Well, you definitely have a thriving practice. Like, if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, or if somebody had a problem, how would they be able to contact you, and how would they be able to, see if they can get you to help out with whatever they was going through?
So, I'm on. I hate it, but I'm on Instagram.
You don't hate Instagram.
I don't hate it because it is really amazing for what I do, but because I'm so personal with my clients, if all you guys called me, that means I'm gonna have to be up till 11. I talk to all my clients. My number one thing, bar complaints, when we were in law school, they said the number one bar complaint with attorneys is lack of communication. You can't reach your attorney these days. Why? You just paid them $1,500, $10,000, $40,000, murder, $50,000 for a case. Why can't you call me? You see what I'm saying? So to me, I don't like Instagram because I literally respond to all that. I take a day and I pick it because my assistant or my legal assistant or paralegal, sometimes they don't know. And as the attorney, you have to be able to oversee the responses. They might say something totally different and advise somebody, and then you get malpractice.
Man, look.
So I can't. But it really helps. And I would say Instagram, it's at SHE Law Office. Facebook, it's the law offices of Shequel Ross. And I think, what else did they set up for me? YouTube.
She got YouTube too.
Yeah, YouTube, Shequel Ross. And basically, if you guys need me, I do on-site police traffic stops. That's something that I've actually trademarked. My brand is trademarked.
What you do on-site? What is that?
So what that means is, I didn't trademark the on-site traffic stop, but that's an area that I've coined out that I'm known for. So what it means is, if you are pulled over in that moment, you can call me. And it will come through me depending on the prompts and my girls who answer the phone or my team. Once you say certain words, they're going to transfer it to me, and I will advise you on the spot. The police are knocking at your door. You're going to call me. You're getting pulled over. They're saying, roll your window down. We smell marijuana. I'm sorry. Can I call my attorney? And I've done that. I probably have done it just from New Year's to now 21 times. And I can honestly say in all 21 of those times, there was bullying and there was harassment, and my guys or girls were able to leave. It's not a game. We're done with the police harassment situation. I love police. I have police officers in my family. But when you go up and beyond and you really try to, threaten people, and that people don't know their rights, that's when I really want to step in to be able to help. And so that's my passion.
Well, I feel like you do a great job. Like I say, if you go through her Instagram page, you'll understand that she's serious about her job. Like I've seen you with your own. I've seen you get pulled over on Instagram and literally pull the camera out and explain to a cop what the cop was about to do.
Yeah, because he told me my car was stolen. Huh? I'm an attorney writer on a stolen car.
Look,
My car is stolen? He said it was coming back to a Ford Taurus.
I was talking
Sir,
about one
what?
where you got pulled over
No,
downtown.
sir.
I was like, yo, she did that downtown too. I was like, that was so bold, it wasn't funny.
And get this, because I get pulled over all the time. I don't know why, but the one last week, she pulled me over, and she literally told me that I had to sign the ticket or I was going to get arrested. And now I know that in Georgia, I've never had that situation. Yeah. Attorneys don't know every law. Yeah. Yes, you do have to sign the ticket. But you could put not an admission of guilt. It's fine, but sign the ticket because, you won't get arrested. I didn't know that, and I told her, I said, well, give me the law on that. So my girl's recording. And I always have my case little handbook. She said it was 1613 something. She didn't know I had just finished a medical marijuana campaign. 1613, that's a conditional medical marijuana act. For the first time, people who are caught with marijuana, just so you guys know, putting you on game, if you get caught with marijuana, the first time, you can ask for a conditional discharge. So it won't go on your record. Yeah, I know, sucks, right?
I told you, you are talking to your client base. This is a market research
That's why
thing
you need a
I'm putting together a focus group for you.
And then on top of that, in Georgia, you get two. Yeah. So you get a conditional discharge if you're caught with marijuana, or it depends on the type of drug, and it won't go on your record. Mm-hmm. And then if you're caught the second time in Georgia, this is what's called first offender, where that can apply to anything, but a lot of people don't take the first offender because it's more so with felonies. So literally, if you're caught, I'm not saying get caught with drugs, but I'm just saying, like, if you do, make sure you put your attorney on. Hey, does this qualify under the conditional discharge? Does this qualify under first offender? Because once you complete probation, and you can even ask for your probation fees to be waived, so you won't have to report and pay more than what your marijuana costs, and ask for it to come off your record.
Man,
it's simple.
So much money wasted on probation fees in my life, man. I wish, again, run back time.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, man.
Oh, sorry, I gotta give the number one more time.
Yes.
855 on the commercial. 855 She-Law. So it's 3 5s. 855 She SHE Law. That's the other way that you guys can reach me.
Well, Attorney Ross, I definitely appreciate you coming by today and educating our crowd and educating our listeners today on how they can get themselves out of problems.
Correct.
Yeah, so thank you very much. I'm glad everybody had a chance to tune in. Next week we got my man, we got Retro coming by. Next week we got my man Retro coming through. We're going to talk about music. And then the following week, I got a whole nother guest, and y'all find that out next week. So thank you for everybody tuning in. As usual, make sure you subscribe to the show on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/CashColorCannabis. Follow us on Apple Podcast. Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and Play FM, as well as get the Live Hip Hop Daily app where you can watch us live every Tuesday at 9 p.m. on livehiphopdaily.tv. This is Cash Color Canvas Podcast, a higher level of conversation. Peace.
Can I say my bye?
She can. I'm sorry. Did I do my outro too quickly?
Okay. It's okay. It's over. I don't need to.
No, do your thing.
No. If he's done, it's okay.
Are we still? We're clearly still on air, aren't we? Yeah.
I was just gonna. Yeah, I have my own trademark bye, so I don't adapt. I don't adopt your bye. So if you see my videos, mine is bye.
Yeah, she do. Yeah, my bad. Do your bye. Do your bye.
That's it right there. No, thank you for having me. Yeah.
No problem. Thank you, man. Again, Cash Color Canvas, a high level of conversation on livehiphopdaily.tv. Bye. Pete, I appreciate your time today.
You're welcome.